Witches Hill.
That sounds so fucked up.
It's just a cab.
Yeah, but you're looking at it. You know what it sounds like. Look the other way. I'm gonna start doing shit.
Comforting.
Keep looking. Look more the other way. Just a little bit more.
I almost shot water out my nose, guys.
That voice! The voice is what did it to me, man.
Just a little hard whispering. That's all it takes.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Well, now that you violated my ears while I was looking the other way.
You liked it. I told you to look the other way. You know what to expect.
Welcome to Witches Hill.
Yeah, I'm Pat.
I am Tim, and we are with, I think we decided Jane Doe. Jane Doe is with us tonight.
Yes.
Actually, it's still daytime.
Shut the fuck up.
I
said the F word.
I was going to say something, I just kind of forgot.
Yeah, we were going for a non-explicit episode and I already fucking failed.
Awesome.
Well, fucking shit.
What?
Fucking shit.
So don't fuck shit.
Am I not allowed to swear?
No.
Midge. No, that's the last thing we need to worry about here.
At least you're being cautious.
We haven't had a single episode where we didn't say something really fucked up.
I've never done this before. I'm allowed to ask stupid
One
questions.
of the first ones was about eating butts.
Oh my god, I remember that.
Wait,
what?
There was an episode that's actually only on our YouTube. It's one, I don't remember what episode it was, but there's an episode where we are literally talking about... No, it was the fucking Purge, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was the Purge.
Yes, it was the
And we were all
Purge.
gonna be like... Wait, I said I was gonna hide in the woods or something like
Purge lead
that.
to eating people's butts.
That's
Because
what I'm
that's
talking
the one
about.
day you can do anything, so why not eat a
You
bunch
can
of butts?
eat somebody's butts any
Was it-
fucking time you want. It's just not technically going to be legal if you do it against their will.
Wow, okay. Alright,
I mean, she's not wrong.
There's nothing illegal about eating somebody's butt. Why would you pick that to do on the Purge?
because no one would expect it. I wouldn't.
I mean, no.
I was just sitting there getting my murder on, and then suddenly, someone's eating my butt.
Somebody dropped my pants and spread my cheeks, and I was like, whoa, shit.
Literally.
I was like a cat who got scruffed.
Just freeze.
I was just petrified. I was just like, I don't know whether to smack you or make you keep going. Purge me. Jim's head whipped so quick to
So I was
me.
just like,
My weapon of choice is my tongue and my love.
well then,
You're a lucky woman.
Oh, shit. Wow. Oh, fuck.
Oh shit.
That just happened.
Tim's doing a bunch of clicky things to make us sound better.
Yes. Live leveling. It's wonderful.
Yeah, all the creative clicks and buttons and knobs that he likes to twerk on his own. Isn't that right, Tim?
Yeah. I'm a twerkaholic.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So we had a little change of plans today. We were scheduled to do an interview with a good friend of ours. He's an actor. But we, due to unforeseen circumstances...
And bad drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and an accident happened, so we are unable to do the original, what would you call it? An interview?
I guess.
Okay.
So we have a backup interview for you, and we are, like we said, with Jane Doe, and she's just going to tell us some stories of some just fucked up macabre shit, and I'm excited because all I've heard is yours, and like 2 of mine. I only have 2.
Wait, what? Me?
Yeah.
Oh.
All your experiences.
Yeah, we still have that. We still have that list that we're going through of 80 something things.
Do you have that list on you?
On me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
It's literally right here.
We could. Do you want to start off hearing one of his experiences?
Duh.
Okay.
Let's do this.
This is perfect.
I'm sure somebody else can do.
Those of you
Okay.
who are listening, we have a couple. Yeah, there's 85.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, but
a lot of
weird shit.
A lot of weird shit's been going on his whole life, and he wrote them out and numbered them. And pretty much we played a game in a couple past episodes where we would just pick random numbers, and he would tell us what that experience was.
Yeah. I have them written down here somewhere.
Do you have the ones written down that we already chose?
Yes, somewhere. As you can, this is not paper I'm using. This is human skin. Keep them entertained, fucker. Nobody wants to hear me flipping through pages like, oh, he's going further.
Well, I mean, you're now that we all know you're flipping through the goddamn Necronomicon.
Yeah. Oh, there they are.
Okay.
And we found it.
All right, so since you're our guest today, we'll have you pick a number, just 1 through 85. We'll let you know if it's already been chosen.
42.
No, I'm kidding. Okay, 42.
Wait. Write it down.
You write it down. You
I'll
got
write it down here.
You,
You're
it's
ruining
so
it.
ugly looking.
God, why are you gonna hurt my
Okay,
feelings?
42. Oh, actually, this isn't I guess the biggest story. There's actually footage for this one. There's footage for number 42.
Oh, we might have to upload some of this footage then.
No, it's already uploaded.
Oh, we'll
It's-
have to direct people to this then.
Yeah, it's on our YouTube.
Put
no-
the link in the description.
Yeah, I will. For those of you who followed us over from YouTube, you guys have seen the Silent Meadow video that we have up, featuring me, Nikki, and Pat Hess.
Oh, I was there for this.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to cliff note as much as I can because there's already the video, and I think we might have told part of the story before. We ended up hanging out one night, Nikki, me, and Pat Hess, and we decided to go down to this place called Silent Meadow. It's just really, or actually, it wasn't even Silent Meadow. It was
The driveway.
the Secret Fields.
Secret fields.
The
yeah.
Secret Fields. We were heading down to the Secret Fields.
Well, that's what he calls the Silent Meadow.
No, that wasn't Silent Meadow. Silent
No?
Meadow was actually the driveway. That was the nickname dubbed for that driveway.
Okay.
I love how, like, our entire life, we've always dubbed specific names for specific places.
Mm-hmm. Ridge 13, spot number 9.
I miss spot number 9.
I missed the cabin. Or the, whatever, the shack. Yeah.
Good shack. Okay,
Yeah.
anyway, back
Oh, I
to-
miss Shaq. I wish he played more baseball or something. Boy, he's tall. Silent Meadow. Okay, so we end up going down there one night, and normally we would make it to the Secret Fields, this giant open plain that eventually goes back into the woods. And there's been a lot of things over the years that have happened specifically to me and the groups that I've gone down there with. Tim was there for one of them. That we all heard somebody fucking running at us, and there was nobody there. There were 2 other people who shined a light out into this field, and they said that there was like some shadow figure out there that was like looking back at them.
Ugh.
Yeah, and well, get this. They kept turning the light on, off, turning it on, turning it off. And every time they were doing that, it was like moving around, apparently. I didn't see this, but at the last time, they like just fucking turned and just booked it as fast as they could. They started sprinting, not running, but sprinting, saying that this thing just like started dashing at them, like this dark figure. And so that was the area that we were going down towards. And oddly enough, number 42, the one that Jane Doe just picked, is actually part 4 of a 4-part series all about those stories, because they all kind of link up together. But this is part 4. This is the end, or at least not necessarily the end, but
Recent.
most recent. Like, we've gone back there, but I'd refuse to go back there at night after this specific story.
Never. Oh, no.
But we went down there, and Hess started acting really, really fucking weird. I've hung out with him wasted. I've hung out with him sober, so on and so forth. I've known this kid for over 20 years. And that night, he completely just was not himself. And as you guys can tell, Nikki is in the far back corner.
Hello, I'm way back here.
Yeah, we chained her up because she keeps stealing our Oreos, and we're not having that. So
No.
He doesn't like sharing his Oreos.
I will take your
I
other
want one
pinky.
here and there,
Because
man.
they are Milk's favorite goddamn
Well,
cookie.
Duh.
Yeah, and I
You
am
can't
milk.
have your milk,
I'm milk. It's my favorite fucking cookie.
but I got milk.
You do have the shirt, but we're the ones who made the commercial.
Oh, okay.
Aw, I thought you were gonna say something, Mr. Phone.
I'm pulling up something
Oh,
perfect.
well, as he's unzipping his pants. Anyway,
That would be pulling out something perfect.
Yeah, come on.
well,
Because
Huh?
I would just whip it out and just suddenly.
what? It inverts and goes into another dimension.
Yeah, that wasn't the sound I was hoping for. Maybe this one. Yeah, there you go.
It sounds like your dick has a really sharp edge.
You whipped out some kind of sword.
3, 2, 1, katana. Anyway, back to horror stuff. Put your dick away.
Fine.
Come on, Sam.
You suck, you jackass.
God
Anyway.
damn. Motherfucker. Anyway,
Tess was acting really weird.
Hess was acting really, really fucking bizarre.
Like, out of nowhere, got super angry.
Yeah, he got to the point where he was so angry randomly that he started like yelling at me, yelling at like things around us.
Trying to get
And-
Pat to go down there. And
Well,
then
hold up,
say-
hold up.
Oh, sorry.
I'm like,
I'm
hold up.
jumping ahead, sorry.
Stay over there,
Ah.
peanut gallery. All right, so we're on our way down there, and Hess keeps bringing up, all this creepy shit, and just saying that, oh, tonight's the night. They're gonna get you tonight. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I think that he's just fucking with me because we're going to do something spooky. And we eventually get down right in front of this driveway. For a while, we actually used a photo of that driveway for Witches Hill. It was like this long driveway. There's no house at the end because the house itself mysteriously burnt down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not going to disclose the information because
What, did they just not
what?
know why it burned down?
it just burnt down. Like nobody was there. There's no evidence that like somebody lit it on fire, but it's just the house literally mysteriously burned down.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing stories that there was like burned ruins of a house back there, and when I finally went back there, it was just like a husk of a shed, but it looked like somebody had been like camping out there. Yeah, so I mean, it was a little creepy, especially with like the weird sigils and circles of things that we found in the woods.
In the immediate area.
Yeah, in the immediate area, at least around here. But yeah, we get down in front of that driveway, and Hess just immediately gets like this weird attract to it, and so he keeps like walking over by it. It's like, come on, let's go down there, and I'm like, yeah, fuck off. Like, I'm not going down there. I'm not doing that. There's a lot of stupid things I will do, but there was just something weird about that area back there. Is like, one, excessively fucking dark, like darker than dark. Like really ominous feeling, and I'm like, no, I know what that means.
Satan's asshole.
Yeah, darker than Satan's
There
asshole.
You go, thank you.
Yeah, and just like I said, kind of cliff noting here. What?
Just laughing at that.
She's drawn on my leg.
I'm getting a tattoo.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, he was acting really fucking weird and was trying to lure me down there, trying to lure Nikki down there, and eventually got to the point where
He was kind of focusing a bit more on you.
oh, definitely, like because he kept
Like,
saying
like,
like they're
like,
gonna get you, they're gonna get you. Oh, don't listen to me. No, come down here, don't
Pat,
listen to me.
Don't go, Pat. They're gonna get you. And then Pat, let's go down there.
It was
we
weird.
should just go down there. Hey Pat, let's go down there.
Yeah, so like I was like, okay, well, with everything that's going on, like one, I've dealt with creepy shit personally, like alone and in groups, but like it was just the three of us. Didn't really want you to have to deal with that. So I was like, okay, well,
Being my what, second?
yeah, it was like your second time actually coming out and like
Yeah.
experiencing this weird shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, he started kind of like coming at us. And I actually got to the point where like I had made a fist in my pocket just in case if he was gonna try to lunge at me. Fast forward like maybe like I don't know 2 minutes, something like that. I don't know. You could see it all in the footage. Everything that we're
I
saying.
was recording it on my phone.
It's really hard to see because Nikki was recording it on her phone, but everything that you see and hear is 100% legit. Nothing is scripted. Nothing like all of that was unplanned.
Yeah.
And it gets up to the point where we're walking up the street, and we're heading back in towards the light.
So we decided not to go because of how Hess was acting.
Yeah, Hess was acting way too fucking
And like the
weird.
whole way back, dude, he was like screaming into the darkness where we were just coming from. I'm sorry. I'll stay here.
I'm gonna get a fucking squirt bottle. But yeah, Hess was screaming into the darkness, saying like fuck you, motherfucker, and like he drinks a lot, but at this point he wasn't fully drunk. He had maybe 2 or 3 beers, something like that, and he just had all this rage. He takes his beer and like it's not even half empty, and just fucking whips it at something in the woods. And so we're just like, okay, that's fucking weird. Like he's definitely acting weird, whether like it was just him or whatever is going on out there. I don't know, something happened. But we started heading back up towards the light, the only light in the immediate area. And Hess comes up from behind me and starts saying like, hey, let's go back down. Let's go down there. And I'm just kind of like, well, would you go down there? Like, would you go down there by yourself? It's like, well, I don't know, Pat. I really don't know. And I even say that I don't want to put Nikki in that position. Literally 2 seconds later, something runs out of someone's yard. And at this point, Nikki and Hess are facing the right way walking up the hill. I'm walking backwards as to watch our back. Now, I shit you not, like 2 seconds before this.
Like a few steps ahead of me.
Yeah, and so I'm like walking backwards and going up the hill still. And I shit you not, I remember seeing this red orb that almost like popped up like a balloon, but it was light. It was really fucking weird. I can't really describe it. It was just for a split second. It could have been like, I guess, a reflection of something, but there was nothing around us.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't explain this like shadow runs out of this fucking person's yard, like through a ditch, and they hear it too.
Behind me, I heard the leaves rustling, like something came at me.
Like this, all I could see was just fucking like person figure thing run out and just like go towards the road. And my initial body reaction literally did a 180 and I just booked it.
And then and then I scream, and then the first thing that comes out of Pat Hess's mouth is like, don't fucking touch me or something like that.
Or go the fuck away or fuck off or something. It was
something
something along the lines where he initially
that's
reacted like that.
That's really common in situations like that. When you find an area like that's got something that's strong, you probably had some kind of altercation. And forgive me if you don't believe it, but with a minor demon. That's what it sounds like. It's this big, bad, scary-ass motherfucker that tries to take somebody else, and he was aimed at you. So it went for the weak point, and then it tried to pick away. That's what they do.
For those of you who have listened in and kind of know a little bit about my personal history, that's another person that just pointed that out.
Yeah.
Another person, like
someone that we haven't talked to about this.
I'm gonna
without him like having ever talked to them before. They've just personally like come up to them and be like, "So you got a pole."
Yeah, but no, that's actually really common. What happened was, so was it Hess?
Yes.
Whoever was okay, so that one was, for whatever reason, the weak link. So they took that one, they got in his head.
It's not me!
And it wasn't, no, Nikki, it was
it's
not me! But it also could have been the fact that it knew that you and him were together, because if it wanted him, it couldn't go for you. If whatever it was went for you, it couldn't get to him. He'd never go for it. It needed something that he would maybe possibly trust. And if you started acting freaky like that, he'd catch on way too fucking fast. Granted, he caught on fast anyway.
My question is, okay, you are not, as we just stated, you are not the first person that has pointed out that something is attracted to Pat, and
It's in
he has
his
been
aura.
followed. But my question to you then about that would be, why? I've known Pat the longest. Like, it's been 20 years that we've been hanging out, and
Almost.
of all the shit that's been going on, shit has always happened around me, never to me.
Because you've
Ever.
always been there. Okay, so I don't know how much you guys believe of what people can see. I guess let's start there. Do you believe that people can see everything? Do you believe that,
I like to keep an open mind because there's certain things I think that can't be explained or couldn't be explained.
Okay, well then going off of that, I've been told that I'm quite psychic. I've been told by a lot of people that I see more than most. And most of the time it comes up in more or less an aura, like what you'd see in a movie. It's literally a color spectrum. And everybody's got one. Granted, I can't see my own, but other mediums like me or whatever, they probably can. Now, you guys are, for lack of a better term, yin and yang. There's a light side and a dark side.
Ha!
Things are attracted to the dark side. They circle around together, but you guys are so well balanced that they only go for the one. So, if good things would come to you, so I'm assuming that, let's just say that is one of you more lucky than the other one?
Depends on what.
Yeah.
Like, give me an example.
The way I always like to look at it is because, like, you had a really traumatic event happen to you, and then right afterwards, I did too. You broke your arm, and before you got home from that hospital, I was put in the hospital because I was going through organ failure.
Wait, were you in the hospital while I was in the hospital?
I got in right when you got out, because I stopped at your house the day before I went through organ failure. I stopped at your house. I saw you for 2 seconds because you had the temporary cast on.
Oh, and I was sitting in the sling in the bed.
You just looked so miserable.
I was also doped up on a
that's
lot
the
of drugs.
connection. I mean, that's what happens. That's really common with yin and yang personalities. A lot of times when there's two halves, when one gets hurt, the other one gets something too.
Dude.
That's
It's
fucked
really
up.
common.
Oh my
And
god. you just blew
it's
my
very
mind.
rare that you see a connection as strong as you two. But yeah, you guys, it's definitely there. So
Because you brought up auras.
Yeah.
What do you see my aura?
Yeah.
What is the color? I've never.
it shifts. Not everybody's a set color. Some people, like, the strictly good people, like, if you looked at, I don't know, looking at you guys, more or less, it's all the happy, bright colors. Like, the light blues, the purples, kind of stuff like that, which matches your hair, by the way. That, that kind of represents, that happy, bubbly kind of personalities. Now, you guys are a little different because you're connected. You're a little on the lighter side, so you get a lot of, like, the oranges, a little white, kind of yellow in there. You're, like, really dark green, and it just kind of shifts from, like, green, like, it's a lot of really earthy colors, so it kind of, like, melds in with everything, and you guys, like, it interchanges.
Wait, who's earthy colors?
He is.
Holy shit, dude.
Oh, weed.
Oh god, I really hope the mic picked that up.
Jesus Christ.
Sandra, I love you.
Okay, that's also really crazy because I think we've discussed this before. We were recording. This is our first time ever really hanging out and actually talking. And
Yeah, it's weird.
you're saying and talking about shit that we've really gone in depth with
I
by
said I'm
ourselves.
I literally just, like, nudged it in there that I'm psychic. That's that's what I do, man. Like, are you kidding me? I used to get paid for this shit.
Dude, that's interesting. So, okay, so was that it for the story, though?
No.
Okay.
Oh, there's more to it.
Yeah, there's more
I'm
to it. That
sorry,
was
I
just
interrupted.
Oh, no, dude,
Not a
no,
problem,
that was...
dude.
that was a detour, but it was like, ooh, this is a very scenic detour. Like, I'm glad I got off the highway at this point.
Right.
Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
great to get off the highway.
Now we gotta get back on. We gotta go back onto the interstate.
Let's do this.
All right, so back to 42. So yeah, we hear this thing just dash out from this person's yard and come at us. We take off fucking sprinting, And now the only light in this immediate area is at the very corner of this like 4-way intersection, which there's a light right there, but then maybe like what 50 feet away or something like that, the church is there with the light.
Yeah.
On the other side of the parking lot though. So like that light, if you're standing right where we are at this point on the road in the threshold of the parking lot of this church, we're probably about 200 feet away from the other end of the parking lot where the only other light actually is. Now, we get all the way back up there, and we're still recording. We're like trying to like, holy fuck, did you hear that? Did you see that? And we're just kind of like recollecting our thoughts. Well, then Hess starts saying like saying this like prayer, and we start hearing the sound of rushing water, or at least what could be chalked up to rushing water. And we're looking in towards the back part of this church, and there's nothing there. There's not like a pond. It's not flooded. It's actually, when this happened, it was, was it January or something like that, or was that in November? No, that was right before we went to the Melrose house. That was in mid-November.
Yeah.
That was in mid to early November of last year, 2017. And so we're standing there. Hess points his direction towards the back of the church, and we're looking over there. But Nikki has the camera at the perfect angle to where if you look up and over at the 35 mile an hour stop sign. Stop at 35. Go up to 35, hit your brakes, just a test.
Just slam.
That's how this guy died. No, I'm kidding. But when you're looking at the sign, you see someone's shadow like right up against the sign, but the angle of the the way the light is, which you see on the actual camera, our shadows are down and out. This is perfectly like pitch black on this thing, and then it slowly moves off to the left after we say, "Shh, did you hear that?" And the camera turns, but the way that the person would have to be would literally be either right in front of it or all the way back by where the light originally is coming from. But even then, if it was back over there, it wouldn't be as prominent as it actually was. I mean, this thing was as dark as the fucking lettering, the numbers.
Well, okay, and then let me ask you this. Following the line with, one was on one side and then you saw something else on the other side, did it have the same feeling? You got this negative feeling but it was like this dark, sinister presence.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Then the church is probably haunted on its own, too.
I don't like that church. I'm not going to say what it is, but yeah, I don't like the area that it's in.
Most churches, even when they're, broken down and run down and, not functioning as an actual building anymore, they're still holy ground. Or hollowed, or however you want to say it. Like, there's still a church. Like, you can't do things. Like, it's just, they run differently. Okay. So, in a lot of situations, the church probably burned down during an exorcism, or broke down, or stopped being functioned during an exorcism, and whenever it was being exorcised, got stuck. So, there's one thing on the other end where the burned down house was, and then that church probably has, like, a whole other thing in it. And they're probably sectioned, which is why one went one way, and when you tried to go for the other one, it didn't want to lose you. So it attacked, and then you guys got far enough away where it couldn't, and then the other one came out to play.
That kind of goes along with the whole theory that I had about, like, every time we go back there, it follows us just a little bit further up the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go back there again, take him with you.
He's done.
You've only come once.
And it was in the daytime, and we actually went to where the house was.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be why you guys didn't really get hurt. You guys are protecting each other. That's how yin and yang works. If you guys do this stuff together, it's less likely to go wrong.
Aww, that's I think
you guys knock that off right now.
I think you guys
we are spooky and we are dark.
Because we're best friends.
God.
I mean, I'm sorry, but it's true. That's how it works. I used to have a partner just like it. We used to do this stuff together all the time, and that was because we worked so well together that we were connected. That's how it works. There's usually one or two people that you can do this stuff with that, kind of lessens the chance of people dying.
That's good to know.
Well, I wonder what would have happened if you came to the Melrose house.
Yeah, now I'm actually kind of mad. I mean, I was nervous about that. I'm not going to lie.
You think I wasn't?
Dude, I already asked to go with. They're not gonna be doing stuff for like months.
I'll go.
Really?
That's what you said. Well, never mind. You're talking
What?
about something.
Okay, let me put it this way. You know that bridge, the gazebo off of Fox River on that side, on the St. Charles side?
On the way to
The
Batavia?
Japanese garden?
No, the other one.
I don't know.
By the mini golf course?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
side.
What about
Well,
me?
that bridge that's on the way there, I just took something off of there. Let it go.
What?
Wait,
It
what?
was haunted. I mean, it still is, but there was one on one side and one on the other, and I got rid of one.
What?
So it was one of those nights where it was a couple nights ago, and me and my boyfriend, who isn't pagan or anything like whatever, but he kind of follows along with everything, and he understands a lot of it, and he believes a lot of it. So it's a good combination of stuff. But well, we were taking a walk, and we've been there before, and even he gets this kind of weird, creepy feeling in the dark on that bridge every once in a while, but it's only on the one side. And then when we walk on the other side, it's kind of too quiet, almost. Like, you don't hear
talking about
anything.
The side that swirls around.
Yes.
That's the side that's too quiet.
Yes.
I feel that.
Wait a minute, which side?
The side that goes down the hill when you're going to go down the hill.
Is that right by the
going out
police
of-
station?
Going out
Yes,
of the
that's
side
on the police
that,
station side.
Okay.
That rock place that we went to.
Yeah.
What?
That side of the river.
Okay, but so
Okay.
basically
The west
there's
side of
this,
the
one side that's got this,
I feel that.
overwhelming, just kind of dark sense to it, and then there's the other side that's just quiet. Like, there's something weird about it. Because it's, the one side's dark, and the whole bridge is, like, this creepy air to it, because, it's dark and there's water, like, from the river. You can hear everything, and yeah, it's kind of spooky. So, we keep walking, and we keep going, whatever, and then all of a sudden it's just right there. And it's, this little area where it's fenced off, and then there's this just hill, and it's right there. Just sitting, like, in the trees, whatever, and, like, I can't see it, but I can feel it. And there's just, and it's got, like, a weird, like, sad feeling to it. Like, it almost felt alone.
Okay.
So, we got kind of creeped out and walked away. And, we kind of continued through the really spooky side where it gets all dark and sinister and you kind of want to run away from it. And then we, continued on the walk. And then I looked back at the bridge and just kind of noticed that, there was this light, like, flickering. Like, one of the street lights just kind of off on the distance over there. So I sit there and stare at it for a second and it stops. So I'm like, okay, that looks like something. So, I'm looking at it and I keep watching it and it's just kind of sitting there, like, kind of winking at me every couple of seconds. It's not flickering, because the light bulb's obviously on. It's just kind of turning off and on. So, I feel around in my pocket, and there's this little piece of candy. So I get, this stupid idea in my head that maybe it wants attention. So I walk my happy ass back up there, I unwrap it, put it on, the banister, the railing or whatever, I dump some water on it, tell it that it's not alone, and all of a sudden it just didn't feel like it was there anymore.
What are you looking at?
Nothing.
Oh, really?
I'm not the one on trial here.
Everyone
So
stare at him.
so my assumption is that it was some, maybe probably younger, somebody that possibly died in the area, something that, something tragic happened, a kid fell into the river or something, and it just got stuck. And eventually it hid because it got lonely and it couldn't contact anything. So when it finally got something that could see it or, understand it or get a message, it latched onto it. And that's why I couldn't stop thinking about it for, like, an hour until we went back and I fixed it.
Okay.
Reminds me of the Melrose House.
And that's the kind of stuff that I do.
What would you say about, let's say if you were at a haunted location, you were just going to do like an investigation or something like that, and you heard something asking you for help by name?
Never go towards anything that says your name unless you have offered your name to it. Now, in Ouija games, that's a little tricky because sometimes you have to offer your name for something to come out in general. You have to give it something personal. So that one's a little different. But if you walk into a haunted place and something says your name, don't go for it. Just don't.
Oh, I
What
just got
if-
chills.
What if there's like a family history? Say like this family has lived there in the past, moved away, and then you came back and did the investigation.
In a way that almost makes it worse. Is that house haunted when you're living there the first time?
Yes.
Then yes, that's definitely worse because it will recognize you and it will go for you, like guaranteed, because it thinks it knows you.
Oh god, I just got chills.
Yeah, that happens.
Okay.
So here, let's go with this. If you're walking into a haunted place and you want to do an investigation, first thing you do is you get information. So you have to research the place. You have to figure out what the fuck happened, why the fuck it happened. You have to try to find a motive, because if whatever it is did this, it did it for a reason. These things aren't just sporadic. They always have a reason. It's doing it because, you know, it likes the pain of things, or it wants to hurt something, or it's in pain itself and needs a way to take it out, or it's sad and it wants something to play with. There's always a motive to it.
Okay.
They don't just sporadically do things. Now the angry ones are really scary because they're doing it because they're angry, but the way they do it is more sporadic. They're a lot more aggressive. Those are the ones that throw things and, you know, get made into movies and
Okay.
the really creepy ones.
Andrew.
Yeah. So normally the sad ones and, you know, the kind of creepy ones and the eerie ones, they don't hurt things. They just they skeeve people out a little bit. The angry ones, like the demonic ones, the dark ones, the ones from trauma or that have been murderers in past lives or, you know, whatever, those are the ones that you got to be careful with. Which is why you do research, because if you figure out that, you know, it was a person that was a serial killer that lived in this house and that's where all the bodies were at some point, then, you know, you're walking into something that you don't want to touch. But, you know, if you find out that it was, you know, like a freak accident or like, you know, something tragic, it's usually just somebody stuck. And then you know, you go in with, you know, the incense and the calming things and you say the basic exorcism, and usually that's about all it needs. Or you go in and you offer it something. You give it food, you give it, you know, you spend time with it, you read a book out loud, you listen to music with it, and just sit there and kind of, you know, dude, stop looking over there. It's
I gotta go look at something. I gotta
distracting.
just hold on. I gotta get
What
something
are
off
you
my chest.
looking at?
I'm not looking at anything. Yeah, carry on.
I know you're looking at something.
All right.
Psychic, stop telling me things that
So
I don't know.
there was I'm gonna tell you a story this time.
Okay.
We came over here and we decided to do record an episode, and we were just gonna talk about paranormal experiences.
Yeah.
We ended up being delayed recording by about 4 or 5 hours
Why?
because out of nowhere we were using Pat's laptop and the mouse just starts. He doesn't have a mouse in. It's just
It's the trackpad.
it just starts moving all over the screen, clicking random things, clicking them off. And it kept clicking one thing specifically, and I would move the mouse, click it off, move it away in a different spot, and it would always move back and just click it off immediately after. So then we decided, all right, let's take a break. We're going to leave this recording and do just an EVP session, go outside, have a cigarette, and let's see if we catch something. So we do that. Come back in, I immediately turn on the recording, start listening to it with the headphones, and you just start hearing something that was, I think it was saying just, hey. You just kept hearing a faint, hey. And then I'll show you my kitchen cabinets. They have like a little locking mechanism thing on it. You clearly hear one of my cabinets open and then close. And we found the exact one that it sounded like too, and it's pretty hard to pull it open. Like, it's not like a gust of wind is gonna blow this the fuck open. And then we started doing more EVP sessions. Stuff kept like laughing, kept saying hey. Pat was asking specific questions and it was giving direct answers. Yeah.
It's not the first time.
That's not the first time, but it was the first time happening in my fucking apartment. And I had to sleep there alone that night. And I have a feeling that you just saw something right now.
No, I thought I saw something, but like, okay, look into that room. You see that reflection?
Yes.
And you see how it's slightly moving?
Yes.
Yeah. Rollo has his air conditioner on.
Okay, so
That's why I was like, hold the fuck up.
oh wait, that fucker's left it on. I
Yeah.
Turn that off. That's been on all day.
Want me to go turn it off?
Yes, please.
All right.
And you know what? No, I got it.
Okay. Okay, so you say don't trust anything that...
Never trust anything that says your name unless you have said it already.
Okay.
So, baseline, don't walk into a house and just openly say, "Hi, I'm this person," because it will go for you.
What if he was with other people and they were saying his name?
Sometimes that translates, sometimes it doesn't. It means more to whatever it is if it comes from said person. Because it's their name, it's their personal property. If you say it, it's more like you giving it than them just finding it.
No, I understand that. I understand the whole, like, dominion type thing. Like, when you know somebody's name, you have power over them.
Yeah.
You can do...
Same principle.
Yeah. That's your birth name. That's how you're identified. Okay.
That's creepy.
Yeah, I gotta reflect on my life. What would you say? I know we're kind of taking a little left turn from the original topic, but this is along those lines. What about a house that has been noted to have real blood literally just manifest itself? What about something like that?
What do you mean by manifest? Do you mean it was dripping? Was it a puddle? Was it...
Like a splatter.
Yeah, like a puddle and a splatter.
That's usually not technically real. It's usually some form of a psychic hallucination that groups of people or certain people will get specifically, depending on whatever's causing it, that will just kind of appear depending on whatever happens. So usually that means trauma if it's splatter. So that's a possible suicide or murder that you're looking at. Something that, got murdered and or killed itself in the house that splattered everywhere, and then when something that, wakes it up, shows up, everything just kind of floods to the surface, and oh hey, you see things.
What if you could, if you had physical proof that it happened?
Photographic evidence.
Photographs can be taken of something and it could still not be there the next time. It depends on if you have a...
I've gone back to the pictures.
Yeah, but have you gone back to the place?
We live in it.
Has it happened again?
One at a time.
It's happened twice.
Twice?
It's happened twice at our house. It happened once, carried over from the Melrose house. And then happened that one time when I left the room for like 2 seconds and ran back like white-faced and just fucking grabbed the camera and beelined it back out.
Has it ever
That was the
changed?
first time.
Like, what do you mean?
Like, the first time you saw it to the second time you saw it, did it change? Did something move? Was it bigger? Was it smaller?
The second time it happened was really fucking bizarre because I didn't see it the second time. My dad's the one that saw it the second time. But there was weird shit that led up to the initial finding of it. Nikki, do you remember that one night everybody was asleep, I heard something crash into the bathroom? And then, kind of like that, Tim. And, anyway, there was something loud that crashed in the bathroom. I freaked out. All the animals were in our room. Everybody else was asleep. And I walked out there, and there was something thrown in the tub, which wasn't on the back wall. It was off...
on the toilet seat, right?
Yes.
You told me about this. Oh my god.
It was on the or not toilet seat, but the back of the toilet,
Yeah,
and it was now somehow in the middle of the tub.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, okay, that's fucking weird. All right, you know what? I'm gonna go see if like my dad or anybody else is awake. So I go back there. The one cat that was out there is asleep on the fucking table, and my parents are dead ass asleep. And so I'm like, okay, that's fucking bizarre. That's really weird. Okay, I'm just gonna go back to the room. So I go back to the room. And, well, I guess my dad must have gotten up like 2 seconds later. But he was woken up from what he says would look like my grandma, who has been dead for fucking ever. That wasn't a nice way to put that. But, I mean, it's been a long fucking time. That's all I mean. And, I guess he saw her, walked up by him, and then like was over by this chair between my mom and him or some shit like that. And she tried saying something, and I guess he was in that like twilight state to where he couldn't exactly talk, but he was trying to like come out of his sleep. And then he finally like said something, got up, and then went to the bathroom. I found this out the next day because I brought it up to him. I'm like, dude, did you go into the fucking bathroom and just like throw something? He's like, no, I thought you did that. He's like, well, even furthermore, I found like bits of blood in the kitchen again. The first time it happened, it was literally, there was no lead up to it. None of the animals were hurt.
Like, there was like a room full of people, and I just remember, like, he went out to check something, and he came back in, like, complete dead-ass straight face, like, straight to the closet for his camera and ran back out.
Yeah.
And we were all like, what the fuck just happened? And he comes back, he's like, so I got this.
Yeah, and I showed them the photos. Didn't you go out there and look?
Yeah.
You showed me later that day.
Yeah, because it was like all just a puddle right on the ground, but then over by the door, it was like splattered up. It was just like, I don't know what the fuck that was. But
Okay, so have you guys done research on the property? Have you
Oh,
looked
yeah.
up like
There were
what's
two brothers.
happened, or
Yeah.
okay, then there's two possibilities. Something either followed you home, or it's already been in the house and it just took till now because you're aware of it to
Oh, no.
realize.
Oh no, I've been aware of it since I was 5 years old.
This has been happening for years.
Yeah.
Has it ever been like outwardly violent specifically to you?
Yes.
Thank you for answering me. And then my girlfriend laughs in the background.
Nervously laughs in the background.
Yeah, I've had a lot of weird
Okay,
things
you
happen.
should get that taken care of.
Like how?
Hey, Jane, you want to take care of it for us?
Well, to let you know how it kind of is over at his place, I used to live over there for a while. This was, in my opinion, one of the most intense things that didn't happen to me, to my girlfriend. I was in...
Because of this story, I'm still terrified to, like...
Because
Yeah.
I was
I
in
can't
your guys'
sleep alone
room
in
now.
that room.
Yeah.
The room
I
that you
cannot
guys
sleep
are
alone in
in
that room.
was my room.
Don't get me wrong, I love sleeping next to you, but I...
Oh, I'm no closer to one of the closets, so.
I can't
So,
sleep alone in that room.
I had my bed against the back wall. My girlfriend was sleeping over, and we had gotten kind of into a fight. So, like, facing the wall, kind of away from her, and I pass out.
I wasn't home to cuddle him, so.
Yeah. So I wake up in the middle of the night though, and I just feel my girlfriend just shaking violently, and I'm just like, "Are you okay?" And she just immediately whips around. She's like, "Did you just grab me?" I was like, "What?" And she told me that she woke up because she felt like breath on her neck, and so she turned around and saw I was facing the other way. So then she just got kind of nervous and just tensed up and laid there, and then she felt a hand grab her thigh really, really hard. Like she showed me how it felt, and it was like a firm, hard grab. And that's when she started freaking out. And I'm passed the fuck out the other way.
Yeah, that happens.
That's
That's really
That
common.
happens,
But-
okay.
It's really common for hauntings. That's what that's a minor haunting, for the record. I've seen a lot worse. This is, I mean, yes, it's bad because it's freaky and whatever, but
That's not the worst.
Oh no,
I'm assuming not. Has it ever
that was the worst thing that happened
almost
directly
killed
around
you,
me.
or
Tell her about when your room was upstairs.
Which story?
seriously, why are
Falling
you still
down
living
when
there?
you're
If this
waking
shit
up.
happens, why don't you why?
It's exciting.
Waking up to falling down. That
Yep.
story.
No,
That
being
to me
picked
is
up.
one of the darkest things that's happened
Being
to you.
picked up.
Yeah, probably.
Not falling down, being picked up.
Well, he woke up to falling.
I woke up to I didn't open up my eyes right when I woke up because, right when you wake up, you just feel kind of groggy.
Yeah.
What happened was one night I went to go to bed, and this is back when my room was upstairs, so I was laying on this futon type thing, and the only thing that was open was my window just to let the breeze in, and so that was maybe a foot and a half above me, and only a light on. Nothing else was on, and I ended up drifting off, and next thing you know, I am literally being woken up by what felt like, imagine somebody grabbing you like this on the shoulders, as if they were just trying to shake you really hard, but I'm literally being lifted off my bed, thrown back into it, and it happened 3 or 4 fucking times. It didn't stop until I finally was just holy fuck, because at first, I just kind of spazzed for a second, and then I threw a punch. My first thought after I did that is, oh god damn it, I just killed the cat. So
What is he throwing you for?
I don't know. I thought maybe I was freaking out because it jumped on me. I was like, oh my god, and then I punched him. I'm like, oh no, I killed him. Like, that's an awkward story. Nobody's gonna believe me. But being upstairs, and I have no door at the very bottom of the stairs, so I instantly get quiet, and like I come back up like I'm a scared little boy, and like just bringing the blanket up to my face. And so I'm waiting, and I don't hear anything. I don't hear the cat run downstairs. I don't hear anybody coming up or doing anything. So I'm like, what the fuck? So next day, I'm getting ready for school. I have 3 claw marks on my neck that are so unbelievably thin. It was like somebody had like a micro razor blade or something. And just 3. But then the next day, they appeared on the other side of my neck. Another day passes, back over here. 3, 3, 3. What the fuck? And then I go...
3.
Huh?
It's always 3.
It is always fucking 3. Always 3. That's the sign of demonic fucking activity, whether you believe it or not. That is what they say. And then when I went online, the way I found out about it is that they were saying like, oh, you know, you can have like bruises and marks on you, but when it comes to your neck, it means the devil's riding your back. And I'm like, oh, great.
Okay, so that's not necessarily true. The devil might not
it's just
be
a thought
here, but
about
yeah,
it.
no, it's dude, you've got something demonic in your house, like, dude.
Doesn't bother me.
Doesn't bother me.
I didn't do anything.
No, and you didn't necessarily have to. You're the one that's more attuned to it. It goes after what it knows can see it. That's why I've had so many instances where I've been in situations like this shit happening because, you know,
Yeah.
I'm always aware. But yeah, no, the 3 is very common. If you ever hear knocking, it's always going to come in 3s. If you hear creaking or steps, a lot of the time it'll come in 3. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, pause, 1, 2, 3, pause, so on and so forth. If damage happens, like if things get thrown or broken while you're not there and you're not there to see it happen, it's usually in either 3 or 5. It depends.
Has anything else happened in the living room? Because you have that little angel statue that one day was randomly decapitated with its head sitting perfectly next to it.
Thanks, Tim. I was trying to keep that quiet from Nikki.
I didn't know.
I'm sorry, what?
Wow, I just got put on the spot on the podcast. Okay,
didn't know
that
you
did
didn't
happen.
know.
I was trying to keep that secret from her because she...
I'm
Oh my
sorry.
God.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good job.
Okay, so I guess I have to explain this one now. Oh fuck, we were working on a specific episode, and I don't remember what episode we specifically were working on, but I looked up one day because I had made this like a fucking half-ass soundproof door that was perfectly cut to this like walkway, so that way the animals wouldn't make so much noise when we were recording over at my place rather than the studio. So there's this little corner shelf thing that we have, and it's up higher to where nobody can even touch it. Like I can't even reach it unless like I really try for it. And there's 3. Oh god, that is weird.
Corner?
There's 3 angels there.
Are you talking about the corner?
Which one did
Yeah.
it go for? Left, right, or middle?
Middle.
Yep.
Yep. So the one that has its feet hanging off the edge is decapitated. I noticed it after we started working on some of the darker things.
And that would be what woke it up?
I mean, it makes sense because, I mean, back in the day, like, there was a while I was looking into Wicca stuff, but I was also trying to figure out what, like, back when I didn't really fully use the internet to its fullest advantage, actually knowing what I could do with it and the right knowledge to find. I was trying to figure out what the difference between like magic Wicca and shit like that were, like just the original way of like, oh, is there actually a way of like doing magic, stuff like that? And
Okay, so like traditional versus new age versus what's made up and
yeah, I was just trying to like figure out like, okay, so like herbal lore, stuff like that. I just made an entire fucking hour-long episode that talks all about the history of it. But during that whole research period, I tended to dabble in some of the darker things, like being clairvoyant of the dead. And what sparked that was essentially, like when I was 5, I had my first experience, weird voices, sounded like my dad, wasn't him, blah, 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 so everything spiraled out of control. Well, I did that with Pat Hess. and past to this day does not let me live it down. Because literally right after we did it, it wasn't like some type of blood sacrifice ritualistic thing. It was just like the Evil Dead. It was just a few fucking words. But the reason why I just kind of bring that up is because, you know, you may not believe in certain things. You may believe more in, let's say, coincidence than factual things. But right after that happened, a pack of coyotes or wolves or whatever the fuck happened started howling in the distance. I kid you not. It scared the shit out of us.
What scared the shit out of me, too.
I just laughed. I was like, oh, that was fucking cool. But, yeah, I definitely give that a little bit of thanks as to why maybe certain things happen.
Some random incantation.
Yeah.
That's actually more common than you would think. A lot of people go through a phase where they want to try different religions, so they find something online and they don't know what it is, but they try it anyway.
That's essentially what it was.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
I mean, we started doing it way back in the day with, what was it, that like Nocturnal Witchcraft book?
Yes.
Yeah, it was
this-
not the Wicca way, but more of like just the magician way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know books like that. I've
Okay.
got books like that.
Yeah.
Actually, clairvoyance was one of my specialties.
Clairvoyance.
Yeah, I used to read cards for people a lot. I'm pretty good at it. So a lot of people contacted me to, you know, contact spirits or, you know, past loved ones, stuff like that.
Okay. Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Jesus. No, my mind keeps just going back to the whole, like, don't trust anything that says your name. And I'm sitting here like, Melrose House.
No.
I'm stealing your fries, by the way.
They are good, salty fries.
Very salty.
Don't
Actually,
wait,
kind of suspiciously salty.
Don't think about it. Just swallow.
Why are they soggy?
Because it's love. Love is soggy.
Aw.
This
As
message brought to you by Witches Hill.
Okay, so do you guys want to hear a fun story from
Oh,
me?
fun. Yes.
Okay, so do you want one of the church stories or the other one? I mean, I can tell all of them if you want. Or at least two of them.
I say pick two of the best ones you can think of.
Okay, let's go with one of the church ones. I've been crucified.
What?
Literally
What?
crucified. Yeah. There's still a hole. See which hand that is. Yeah, if you feel right here, you can feel the break in the bones.
What
That's
the
not
fuck?
supposed to be there. Right there. Do you feel the gap? Like right there?
Huh.
Ow.
They only did my hands. They never got to the feet. It was stopped before that. But yeah, I was literally crucified while they tried to kill me. So I'm a twisted child. Let's start with that. Even as a kid, I've always been a little sinister. So I used to get migraines and nosebleeds a lot. That was really common. It's a family thing. We have, you know, it's the chemistry and also, you know, the migraines. It's a family thing and it runs along, whatever. So I used to be able to, you know, I'd get the migraine and then I'd feel the nosebleed coming and then, you know, I'd kind of go from there. Well, this one kid was picking on me when I was in Sunday school one day. And I was just kind of done with this. Yeah, she's heard this one. So, my dumb ass came up with the idea that I could literally scare the shit out of the kid, which is what I did. As a 6-year-old, I felt the migraine hit. He was pulling out my hair, so I knew it was going to happen. I felt like right around when the nosebleed was going to start. I whipped around in the school chair, rolled my eyes into the back of my head, nose started gushing blood, I started like fake convulsing, and then started spewing random things in Latin, and collapsed onto the floor and continued to convulse while my nose was gushing blood. So this other 6-year-old boy shit himself, scrambled out of the chair, over the desk, out of the room, and never came back. He had to move states.
Did you get a gold star for the day? Holy fuck, that's amazing.
That,
No, right?
that is the best story ever.
Oh my
But,
god.
So yeah, I made a 6-year-old have to move states because he was so traumatized because some girl in Sunday school had a nosebleed and used it to her advantage. So after that...
What a way to say that.
So after that, the church didn't really like me, and this is the first one that tried to kill me. So they were convinced that because of this, they thought it was a real episode.
Yeah, no, you
They
stop there. You didn't go into the whole crucifixion part.
So they thought it was literally like an actual, like I got possessed by something for a second, and that's why that happened. They couldn't believe that a child could be that evil just on her own. It had to be something else. So they thought I had a demon living in me. They called me the Antichrist.
God.
So you know, it kind of followed into, you know, a couple priests came in from a couple different, you know, churches, and they had their little meeting, and then everybody wanted to talk to me about it, and it was fine, and then it all just kind of settled. But the other priests never left. So about a week later, everybody, you know, kind of comes up to me after service and whatever, and, you know, they're trying to talk to me about it again. Now, at this point, I'm not supposed to talk about it because that's what the cop said. So I was doing my best to just not talk about it, because, you know, I'm a little kid. I don't know what the fuck I did. Yeah. I just did something because the kid pissed me off. So, you know, I used to be in choir for the church, too, because my family was really involved, and I didn't really have a choice. It wasn't my thing, but whatever. So, you know, one night after choir, like a couple weeks after this happened, so let's say like maybe a month or so has gone by, and they've been, you know, trying to talk to me about it, get some questions in, see, you know, what my personality's like, try to get to know me, kind of weaseling their way into my schedule. Well, they figured out that I was in choir, and they kind of went from there. So one night after choir, one of them kind of cornered me after, you know, the practice, because we were having a dress rehearsal in the actual, like, you know, cathedral part. We were on the altar. So, you know, he talking to me, and he's trying to, you know, get my attention. He says, well, I told your parents I'm going to drive you home. And I'm like, okay. So as a 6-year-old, I'm sitting here. This dude's not okay. So, you know, we kind of go here and there, and he's taking me out of the room, and there's 3 other guys waiting in the next room. So there's a bag thrown over my head. They put me on the altar itself, so a big marble thing, and then they brought the cross in after, and it was made to my size. That's probably why it took so long, because they made it themselves. Jeez. And yeah, they went from there. So well, my dad didn't like the idea that some priest that he didn't go to this church. I went with my grandparents, so he didn't like the idea in the first place, and they talked to my grandparents on the phone. So my grandparents, of course, said it was okay. Well, my dad didn't. So, of course, he called the cops and marched his ass in there with them about halfway through. So they had gotten to the point where I was on the cross. It wasn't hanging yet, but they were chanting with, you know, the incense and everything, and everybody had the hoods up, and there was dark and candles, and I had a bag over my head, and there was blood everywhere, and, you know, I passed out at some point. When I woke up, I was in the hospital. I couldn't move my hands, and there were lots of cops.
Holy shit.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Yeah.
Fucked up.
Oh, I've got a better one. This one's a little more fun, though. So, yeah, I'm bi, just openly. It is what it is. So there's a girl that I dated, and we were in the cult together. Like, we joined together, we kind of worked our way up together. I've obviously got higher than she did, you know what my rank was. So, well, she was a little unstable, and she ended up committing suicide about 3 years ago. So, well, she didn't get along with her family. She got along with me and her older brother. So, she had a will. She was smart. She didn't want the Christian burial that her parents wanted. She wanted to go out like, you know, a traditional witch. So, to appease her family, since the will was obviously granted to me, not only did I have to watch her die in a bed because the suicide wasn't successful, so she was in a coma for 4 weeks. Half of that was brain dead. So I had to pull the plug on her. Then on top of that, we buried her like a Christian to appease her family. And then I dug up her body, brought it to Wisconsin, burned her on a pyre, and had a concert because that was what she wanted in the will. I sent my dead girlfriend out on a burning pyre while I sang.
That's a very Viking
That is
thing to
the
do.
most Wiccan thing I've ever done.
Damn.
Fuck.
Damn.
And I didn't get caught.
Yeah, that's actually a big thing, because I've always said that's the way I've always wanted to go. Just fuck it, light me on fire, I don't care. But that's not technically legal, apparently, unless you pay, like, I think it was $125,000.
What the fuck? Wait, what?
Yep.
You can legally get that done, but you have to pay, like, about $125,000.
That's why we did it the way we did it, because we couldn't do it legally, because we weren't going to pay that much for, you know, something we could have done on our own. So we did it on our own.
No shit. Wow.
But yeah, no, that was fun.
Huh. Okay, well, fuck. Damn. Sorry to hear about that,
No,
but
that's okay. I've moved on.
awesome that you stuck with it, though.
But yeah, no, I've been through a lot of exorcisms on either end, give or take. So I have experience.
What's an exorcism you've done?
Okay, one of the first ones I did was something a little less than, I mean, not so much demonic as just creepy than what you have going on, but it was a lot of, the stuff kind of appeared out of nowhere, a lot of moving, whatever, so they kind of, brought me in as a consult, I guess is the best way to put it. I just went in with a priest. I was kind of sitting there, we were working with the church for something, and this popped up in their radar, and they just kind of threw it at us like, hey, send somebody on this one too. So they sent me, and the priest ended up getting knocked out because he agitated something, because that's what priests do. Don't go and do an exorcism with the priest. It's a bad idea. Go in with somebody trained, like me, because we know what we're doing. So normally when a church official will go in for an exorcism, they'll do the stereotypical movie stuff, because that's all they know how to do. They walk in with the incense and, the candles and the Bibles and, whatever, and shove it in its face. And nobody wants religion shoved in its face. So guess what? It fights back. Go fucking figure. So, that's what the guy did, and ended up getting smacked against the wall so hard he got knocked out. So, of course, hey, guess what? It's little old me sitting there alone with a Bible, and of course I toss the Bible and say what I know from... This is going to sound really bad. I memorized the one in Supernatural because it actually is a legit exorcism. They got it from a legit book. It's real. They use it. But, so yeah, that's what fell out of my face, and it just happened to stop it. That was the first one. It was shit getting, kind of thrown everywhere, lots of broken glass. The dude got knocked out because the couch moved across the room, and then I just said something and it stopped. So after that, I was interested, of course, and I got, a little more invested in it, and I started kind of working my way through my channels on my end, through the, cult, and going through, and I found a very close friend of mine now. I won't name her, but, she kind of led me on the path to helping people. So I ended up doing it for hire. And that was fun.
How long have you been doing that?
I did that for hire for about 5 years.
Damn. Okay.
That was when I was in, middle school and high school.
Holy shit.
Damn.
Damn, dude. So, okay. You got a lot of experience under your belt.
I started young because, when a church tries to kill you when you're 6, you kind of get curious after that.
Yeah, I'd have to say that would definitely change my worldview pretty damn quick.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't a Christian in the first place. I went because my family wanted me to, because, that's the polite thing to do. And once I was old enough to make a decision, they'd let me stop going. Well, I got the decision early because that happened.
Yeah, I can see why.
Yeah. The only reason the other one happened was because the first church got involved again, for the record. That wasn't, I didn't do something stupid that time. It literally happened because the other church tracked me out.
Jesus Christ.
So they moved churches, and we went to, I think it was a Lutheran church for a while, and then went back to a Catholic one. It was around the same general area, so I'm not surprised word got spread, but everybody knew about it at some point. The demon child that scared the shit out of a kid. So, it's a small neighborhood. It's gonna travel. It's what it does. It's the information. But so, word just happened to get around, and somebody higher up in the second church decided that they wanted to contact somebody else and get information about it again, and kind of research me, and that church made their own mind after that, and the whole thing. That one didn't get nearly as far, though. That one was more of a, tie me to an altar and try to kill me with a knife thing.
Huh.
It was a very pretty blade, though. I got to look at it afterwards, years later, when I went back to visit the church after, all the crazy people were gone. And they still had it, because, it's one of their... Ceremonial things, yeah, thank you. So, it was this very traditional blade. It was the curved edge, and it pointed, and then there were rubies inset all the way down.
Oh, yeah.
So it was really pretty, but also very scary.
Yeah, I bet.
I was 8 the second time.
Jeez.
Not even double digits. Holy shit.
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
God, it's crazy to think that shit still is going on, in this day and age.
Yeah. Wow.
There's crazy people.
Yeah. You can say it.
And when you get an idea lodged into somebody's head that sticks, that people who believe in Christianity are very special people. Now, some of them are perfectly fine, and they're, you know, they believe in what they believe in, they don't shove it in your face whatsoever. And then you get the ones that are very intense about their beliefs, and if you tell them that their belief is wrong, they will kill you. And that's more or less what I did, is I told them that their belief was crap, so they tried to take me out. Because some people just think that way.
Naysayer.
As a child.
Yeah, no shit.
Naysayer.
Well, okay, their reasoning was because she's young. She can come back from this. Kids get over trauma all the time.
Okay.
So, yeah, they thought that they'd get rid of it, and I wouldn't have died, and it would have been fine, but I would have died. Like...
Yeah.
You can't do that to a kid.
No.
Like, it doesn't work that way.
Obviously, they don't know anything about general psychology.
No.
Let alone they should not be around kids.
Oh, they're not anymore.
The worst babysitters ever.
Oh, they're locked up now, trust me.
Oh, good.
They have been for a while.
Good.
It's good.
Hope the worst comes to those type of people. But holy fuck! Wow, that's an intense journey.
And that was just like up to age 8.
God damn, dude.
When we get into like the other side, that's a whole another ballgame.
Sounds like you need to write an autobiography.
Your life needs to be a movie.
My life would horrify people. It would be worse than like human centipede reactions. Like, I don't think anybody would want to talk to me after that.
Which I have to admit, I still have never seen.
Really?
You don't want to? Please don't.
I do want to.
Don't ever. Just don't.
It's just bad.
No.
It is bad.
That's why I want to see it. I get off on the really bad horror movies because then
But
it's something
not
that
even
you
like
can just
the good
laugh
bad.
to.
It's just like gross.
Yeah, it's just a bad
Cringe.
plot.
Is
Yeah.
it as bad as Hostel?
I haven't seen that.
I mean, at least
Not
Hostel has a point.
As bad, but yeah, that.
I fucking hated Hostel.
Was okay.
Did you hate it
Point
more
or
than
no?
Saw?
Saw was pretty bad.
Like, I can stand the first Saw. It's like, okay, I get the idea.
But
yeah,
then,
okay.
like, the rest of them were just, like, too much.
Exactly.
I saw 2, but I didn't see any of the other ones.
You need to watch all of them and then understand our pain. I've seen all of them. The worst mistake of my life.
I think the best
Horrible.
horror movie ever is probably The Notebook. I say that with full fucking confidence because I like the entire time I'm just yelling no at the movie. The one time I was forced to watch it.
Don't refuse to watch it.
God damn
I've never actually seen that either.
it. Don't.
Neither have I.
You
Believe it or not, I've
just
never
don't.
seen The Notebook.
You just don't need to. Nah.
Nah.
No, it's just torture.
No.
The Notebook is torture porn.
Yeah.
That's where I draw the line on that. Notebook is torture porn.
But, okay, so do you guys have questions? Anything?
Yes.
Yeah, plenty.
Go ahead.
Oh. I thought Tim was writing me a secret love note. Never mind.
Oh.
Look at my secret love notes that I write to whomever I'd like. It's bad. I know it's me.
Anyway, what could you say that like anything has ever followed you back from an exorcism
Oh, yeah.
or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's happened a lot. I transferred something once on accident. We were dealing with a minor thing that turned into a big thing because in trying to kill the minor one, the bigger one woke up. So, when that happened, because they were in very close proximity, so usually when that happens, there's about 3 or 4 little ones that'll kind of sit in one spot, especially if it's like a house or, you know, a building or something. And then as you get into, like, usually the basement is where the big one is. Big surprise. It's like, you know, the little mini bosses that lead up to the big boss is pretty much how it works. Yes.
Oh, I'm not
Do you
holding
have
my
a
hand.
question,
No,
or
I'm
you
just
just-
flipping them off.
Okay, you have fun with that.
Oh, fuck you too over there.
But so we went in because we got called for one of the little ones that was, kind of causing a problem. It was terrorizing the child that lived in the house and trying to, do creepy shit. So we got called in by the church because we got contacted by church sometimes to come in for families to, do this here and there when the church didn't think they could handle it on their own. Yes.
I do have a question.
What?
What did it look like?
What do you mean?
The entity. Can you see him?
Sometimes. Sometimes they don't want me to see him. Sometimes I'm not, strong enough to see him. Sometimes I don't want to, so I'll block it out. It kind of depends.
What about in this said case?
I saw the little one. It looked like a kid. Honestly, it had freaky eyes, and they were like twice the size that they were supposed to be. But I mean, other than that, it looked like a little boy. It was like that big. It just kind of ran around and did its thing and kept like fucking with shit.
A little Loki running around.
Yeah, pretty much. But so we went in for that one, and we did, the whole thing. We went in, we tried to talk to it. We, tried to communicate, let it know, like, we're here to do this, but it can be quiet. Like, we can figure, an okay way to do this. We don't have to attack you. We're not just outright, coming in and blasting you with something. Mm-hmm. And in the process of trying to communicate with that one, me being the psychic that I am, picked up on something a little darker. So I poked at it because that's what I was told to do. That was a bad idea. So this big thing wakes up and the whole house starts shaking and everything's falling off of, shelves and counters and all the cabinets are flying open. And all we see are these 4 little shadows just kind of from every room just whoop, right out the front door, and they're gone. And then all of a sudden this really big one and the whole house goes dark. And the people say from the outside, even looking in the windows, it looked like the house was dark. Like it was nighttime and all the lights were off. So, this happens and nobody can see anything. So, of course, me and my friend grab, lighters, candles, whatever we can find. I had a thing of matches on me at the time. So we light that and we find everybody that we can and we get them all into the living room. Because you go into this is going to sound really stupid, go into the biggest room and just sit in the center. Because you're in a group. You're together. You need to be somewhere where you're not going to get stuck, where you're not going to get separated, where you're not going to, get ambushed. So we get everybody that we can, and we realize that one of the kids is missing. So, of course, it's this little girl that got stuck in her, they were playing hide and seek, and she just happened to be hiding upstairs. So my dumbass ran and got her. And walking around in the dark while there's this creepy presence kind of breathing down your neck is not fun. Oh, because I could literally feel it breathing down my neck. Like, it felt like there was something physically following me through the shadows. And, of course, you can't see anything. So you're walking through this place completely blind with something breathing down your neck.
Thinking about it.
And, oh, hey, guess what? There's this little girl crying in a closet that you have to find. So you're kind of freaking out for a second,
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there was just this really bright moment of clarity in my head, and then everything was gone. And I woke up 2 hours later, and they said that, just by sheer, stress and power alone, I had just, expelled everything.
Wow.
And that's not the first time something like that has happened, either. I've caused whole blackouts for cities.
Jesus.
That's what happens when psychics fuck with shit. Stuff goes wrong.
Take out a generator.
That's why we have electrical, shit goes wrong with spirits, because they interact with it. Well, people who are psychic are on the spiritual plane. We count as a ghost and a person. So, we can get seen by everything and we see everything. So when stuff like that happens, we affect the, electricity of everything too. We can make lights go out. We can, get the sounds on all the radios and everything. It happens.
Did not know that.
It freaks people out.
Definitely makes me think, coming back from the graveyards all the time in my car, and all the street lights are going out right when we get underneath them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Every single one down the entire road.
Her talking about the blackout just made me think of when you were up in the attic playing with only the PlayStation and the TV plugged in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That wasn't just me that was being fucked with, though.
No, I know. But that's just what it made me think of, and I teared up a little bit, because it's our house.
Yeah.
I can come and look at your house if you want. I can. I mean, it has to be okay with both of you. I'm not going to do it if one of you isn't okay with it because it's his, area too, but I can.
I'm just 50-50 on it because, like, at this point, like, I've learned to live with whatever the fuck is there, and at this point, I'm just kind of like...
I can tell you that. If I come in, I'll just look. I'm not going to poke at it. I'm not going to look, not going to try to get rid of it. I'm just going to see what it is. And then maybe I can tell her that it's not as big of a deal as she thinks it is.
I had somebody literally run out of my house before. Like, just because they've heard stories, they walked in.
Was I there for that?
Huh?
Was I there for that?
I was Lunam. Yeah.
I mean, I felt it when I walked in the one time. I've been in the house.
I forgot you've been in my
Yeah.
house.
I know what's there.
I'm curious.
Dare I ask?
What?
What's there?
What?
She said she knows what's there.
That
What's there?
he was looking at me and like saying, I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, yeah, because he's asking you, am I allowed to say?
No, I was like, do I dare say?
Because I'm like, can I ask?
I mean, do you want to know?
Sure.
Lesser demon.
Oh, what?
Lesser demon.
Oh, what a bitch.
Lesser demon.
Yeah, I said, what a bitch.
Okay, so, there's,
Wow.
in the traditional sense, there's Satan, there's his knights, and then there's, a whole string of things. Well, the lesser ones are basically, like, fourth on the food chain, I guess. So they're like, pretty high up there, but, like, not, like, freak-out worthy, I guess is the best way to put it. Like,
So, like, if he was carrying a gun, he'd be carrying, like a 22?
yeah.
Ah, okay, he's gotta get close.
Yeah, if you want to put it like that.
Still don't want to fuck with
Demons
that,
to
but not
guns.
that.
Okay, why not?
I've compared it to weirder.
demon. I don't know.
Yes.
A little bit.
That's interesting.
So, do you guys have any other questions or anything? Or
We should do a series.
Yoo-hoo-hoo. I think that's about it for right now. We can have another parter at another point in time.
that's fine.
Yeah, because I am truly invigorated by this conversation, and I would love to fucking continue it.
Yeah.
But we're already near an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, and you guys got some stuff that you guys are planning on doing, so don't want to take up all your guys' time. So.
Okay, I mean, we can sit here and talk anyway. If you guys just want to turn this off, you can ask me whatever the fuck you want.
Honestly, yeah, let's keep this talk going.
Go
But,
nuts.
unfortunately, you guys can't join us.
Sorry, guys.
So we'll be,
Sorry.
I guess, drawing this episode to a close. We hope that you guys have enjoyed what you heard.
Yes.
As always, follow us on Twitter at witches_hill, and follow us on fucking Google Play, or Google Play Music, however the fuck you say it. Or Podbean, or the other arts and crafts things. Tim's got some nice drawings that we've been putting on the fridge.
They're very special.
Yeah, he had some good macaroni art, but he keeps using the wrong glue, so they keep falling off. Isn't that right, Tim?
I'm so sad.
You should be sad. I almost fell backwards.
We are, and we are working towards getting on more platforms. So keep looking around as we start figuring this stuff out. Because as we always say, this is an entirely DIY endeavor. We do everything ourselves on our own dime. Because this is what we just love doing. We just love sitting here talking to you guys.
They're
And
not.
we
They
love
never.
to know what
They
you
never
think
talk
about
back.
it.
I
But
can
it's
never
okay.
hear them.
They can just listen. I understand you.
We can say bad things into your ear.
I mean, we could, but we shouldn't.
Moist big panties. For those of you who missed that episode,
Oh, that was a lovely episode. You should go. What was that?
fucking
The spiritual journey one?
yeah, the one that like
Yeah.
we were supposed to be talking about fucking ghosts, demons, and interdimensional beings, and then we're just like, oh, religion and philosophy and fucking how did we get here?
And God.
Yeah, and meet
was-
Hanky being stuck in the walls.
And somehow that leads into moist pig panties.
Yeah, it was hot. It was hot.
That's super hot.
But yeah,
But again, so we will catch you guys next time. And thank you guys for listening.
yes, we will see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Man.
Witches Hill.